There we go. All right. So we are going to go ahead and get started with the October 17th Westmarch Board of Directors meeting. And if I can start by having a roll call, please, in alphabetical order. I know Amanda's usually first, but she won't be able to make it to tonight's meeting. Andy?
Andy Brown.
Thank you. And Christian usually doesn't be able to get here until later, so she may join us later, but she's not present initially. And then our Monarch, excuse me, Christine is not available yet. I'm Jody. I'm the Westmarch BOD president.
Jordan Jameson, liaison.
Rose
Justin.
Brown.
Wait,
Justin,
Justin Smith,
Oh, sorry.
Prime Minister.
and you, Rose, go.
Okay, Rose Brown, secretary. Sorry,
Beautiful.
Justin. I'm still used to it being Dave, who was
Yeah.
here in the list.
All right, so we do have a quorum. And the first item is to review and approve the September 19th meeting minutes. Rose, there was one of the meeting minutes that there was a name that was wrong or something. Was it the September 19th or the September 22nd?
No, okay. So that is actually an August thing, and that
August, I'm
is
sorry.
that's in new business.
Okay.
So
Okay, so then has everyone had a chance to review the September 19th meeting minutes?
Yep.
Does anyone have any questions or changes that they feel need to be made? Crickets, do I have a motion?
Actually,
Yes.
oh, never mind. Never mind. I see it.
Did you have
no
a
objections.
comment, Andy?
Oh,
No objections?
I was looking at it and it looked like only 3 people were listed as there, but then I saw the monarchy members were listed separately afterwards. So
yes,
see it
I
now.
always list them separate.
Did you have any other questions or concerns, Andy?
no other questions or concerns.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to accept the September 19th meeting minutes?
I move to accept the September 19th meeting minutes.
A
Seconded.
second? Great. Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. So we will accept the September 19th meeting minutes and Rose will post them in CA Amtgard. Thank you. And then we had the special September 22nd meeting. Did anyone have any questions about those meeting minutes?
Did they work for Justin and is that what he needed? Is there any other changes that need to be done on him?
I think
Nope.
we're gonna, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
They
Oh.
worked just fine.
Wait, I move to approve these then.
Okay.
Seconded.
Second.
Anyone opposed? Great.
Nope.
So the September meeting minutes have been accepted as read. And I'd also like to note that the Queen Christine has now joined us.
Okay, sweet. I'll move her to present.
Yes, please. Sorry. Okay, so then the
Paste.
next item is the platform for the future BOD meetings. I just wasn't able to get to do the YouTube Westmarch, and Rose, you were going to look into that. Can you tell us what progress you've made?
I sent messages to both Dave Zucker and then Justin Smith requesting to get access to the Westmarch YouTube, as it's an important part of being able to figure out how to do live. Unfortunately, that was right before Dark Shore, and people have been busy since then. So I
Dark
don't.
Shore or Foo?
Sorry, Foo.
Mhm.
So I don't, as far as I'm aware, have access yet, but hopefully we'll get it soon and then I can work on it.
I believe the password for our YouTube account was in one of the things that was passed on to me, but I have not had a chance to dig through all of that and find it.
Yeah. No worries. But it'd be good to be able to try and get on and see if I could get it working, but I'm fine with tabling that till next month, as this month was kind of busy. So
Okay, great. So, maybe if we have a motion to table this item until November? Unless
Yeah.
there are any more comments that anyone has.
motion to
moved.
table.
Seconded.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so we will table the platform for future BOD meetings. Rose, I really appreciate you taking action on this for me. Thank you so much.
No worries.
The next item is officer insurance. And then there was a note from Amanda. Let me see if I can find it. That's not it. I think she had. Give me just a second. I just need to find where she posted a comment, because I know that she had worked on it. Here we go. So, so a couple things. There was a comment about that she needed a definite address, and that we were kind of waiting on some of the paperwork that needed to be done to have a definite address for her to be able to make further progress on that.
My notes state that what it was she needs the address that she gets the quotes for to be the same as the Wells Fargo, but that it was needing to have Justin Smith's address changed over from David Zucker's.
Okay. So, I think that is one of the items that's coming up in old business, so we could perhaps postpone discussion until we talk about the Wells Fargo banking issues, which is next.
Okay, motion to postpone until after item 5.
Seconded.
Okay, minute. Okay, all right, so then let's move on to the Wells Fargo banking issues, item 5. Justin, do you have an update on that?
Yep, completely resolved.
Yes.
It took only several months.
Okay, so we have the correct address listed then for having officer insurance and other stuff, right?
That the address that we have discussed, and I'm not repeating here because I don't want it out there,
Yep.
Yeah.
is indeed acceptable.
Sweet.
So on item number 5, the Wells Fargo banking issues, that's been taken care of. So we were going to add Kaya, who is our treasurer, to the bank account.
Yes, she is on the bank account. The problem that she was having was with getting her bank account, or getting the bank account to show up for her for online banking. And having resolved that while I was at the bank the most recent time, it requires you to sit down with a banker, but it takes them like 5 minutes.
Nice. Well,
So we-
also kind of crappy, but also
So we've
nice.
successfully changed the address and removed David Zucker and Ian Crawford from the account.
Yep.
And then, but we still need to add Kaya.
Nope, Kaya is added.
And
She
she
needs-
now
she
has
needs-
access.
She needs online access, which means that she needs to sit down with a banker so that she can go in and she can talk to the banker about the account. She can, if she has an ATM card, she can go and check it, do anything with the ATM card. She can sign checks. So she could write checks on the bank account, but she does not have it on the online banking. So it's difficult to, for example, look at the not transcripts, statements.
Mm,
So then what is your opinion on this item? Is it cleared, or do we need to have her do what she needs to do to get online access before we close this item out?
It was my understanding that the Kaya permissions was much older than this item. And so I feel that this item is resolved and that Kaya's access is a separate issue.
I mean, if she does have access, if she can go in and write checks and do all of that, then she's got capability to do what she needs to do as the BOD treasurer.
Mostly. As BOD treasurer, I believe looking at the account and making sure that you can audit it is the meat and potatoes of that, but also continuity of ownership so that we are able to make sure that at least two people are on there so that if something was to happen to either of us, the other would be able to still have access to the account.
So I guess I'm kind of feeling that it's not quite closed out if she doesn't have, and correct me, if she doesn't have online, excuse me, access, she can't review the statements and do the first part of what you said. So it's
Correct, but that was an older and separate issue to the updating and everything else.
so this
Okay,
update's been done.
Yes.
Yeah. I would like to make a motion then to close item 5 and open a separate item of trying to get her online access and have that just be the carried through thing.
Well, so is there any action that the BOD needs to take on that? Or is that just Kaya needs to go into a Wells Fargo and talk to a banker for 5 minutes?
Kaya needs to talk to a banker and have them decide to actually help her, yeah.
So do we want to keep a running check on whether or not that has happened, or do we want to just close it? Oh, wow, you painted all over yourself. Good job.
I would almost say that because Christian's Kaya's not here, that we close out the account transfer and the names and that part of it, but that we continue maybe as new business and keep it running just to follow and make sure that she's aware she needs to go get online access to finish the process.
And for all I know, she might have already done that. She's not here to let us know. So yeah.
So I'm almost thinking that we table this until next time with most of it being closed out, but we just need to get information from Kaya as far as where she's at in finishing that last little bit. Comments?
Motion to close out all the transfer info and only leave the Kaya stuff open.
Second.
Any comments on that? Any disapproval? Okay, so we're going to basically close out item 5, but continue a discussion with Kaya as far as her getting online access to the Westmarch Wells Fargo account. Right? Correct, Rose?
Yeah, so I'm doing motion to close the previous stuff and then motion to table Kaya's access to online banking.
Right, just to tie up that loose end. Okay, And so then let's cycle back to the officer insurance, which now that we have the physical address for the application, Amanda probably will be able to go ahead and make some progress on the officer insurance, but she's not here tonight. She's not able to be here tonight to be able to give us any information or plans on that. Do I have a motion to table this item until next month?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, so we will table the officer insurance until next month and wish Amanda blessings for the things she has that are keeping her from being here tonight. Moving on to the Voland contract status. Justin, I believe you have information on that.
I do. The Voland contract is 100% complete. All signatures are on the page. And I have yet to scan it and put it onto the Monarchy drive because I have to scan it at work and I haven't brought it with me to work. But Voland is official.
And then isn't there a copy that's supposed to be sent back to them as well?
I do not recall. I can send a copy to them. It's not a problem.
I think that's actually one of the more important parts of the process.
I will send them a copy.
Sounds easy.
Motion to close.
I
Seconded.
might keep it open until you give me a minute. Give me just a second. I'm just looking at the contract to see. They send the contract to us. I think I would like to not close it out quite yet until a copy has been sent to them. Yeah, it says date signed by the sponsored chapter, date sent by the sponsored chapter, received by Westmarch, signed by Westmarch, returned to the sponsored chapter. So I would suggest that we table this until we have a date returned to the sponsored chapter.
Isn't that something that's done mostly by the Westmarch Monarchy though? So it's no longer really a BOD
No,
thing?
it's a contract. We do contracts.
Well, I get that, but I meant more the returning it part of the contract.
I think if we don't have a date returned, then the contract is open. And
Okay.
I'd like to table this until we have that date that it was returned. It doesn't say that we have to have a date that they received it. We just have to return it.
Motion to table till next month then.
Second.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. I think that should be pretty simple to do, Justin.
It is indeed just putting in the mail.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then number 7, item number 7, the Texas Principality to Golden City request to remove that from the org. What is the status of that? Do you know if that's been removed?
It has not.
It has not. It's still there.
Yeah.
Give me a second here. So the meeting minutes from last month. What I'm not clear on with the meeting minutes from last month is we formally request that the owners of the org remove Golden City as a principality of Westmarch. So, but what we didn't say was who the owners of the org are and who was going to reach out to them to remove Golden City as a principality of Westmarch.
So ironically, it is the people who own the principality who are the runners of the org, the admins of it.
Ah, God.
So the
Awesome.
Golden City Principality needs to remove themselves from the org?
Specifically, what's his name? Is it Noah Smith?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
Noah Smith. Okay.
Yeah, he's the head admin guy of the org, was where we landed last meeting. So he needs to remove Golden City, or at least make it no longer under Westmarch.
So at Dark Shore, I think it was Delos come up to me. And he seemed to think that they were still part of Westmarch. They wanted to remain part of Westmarch. And that they would do what they needed to do to keep that going. So we've kind of outrun that already, but if we wanted to go backwards a little bit and have them sign a contract, we could do that. I know that that's what they want, at least.
So when I talked to Noah or messaged with him, he was going to reach out to the original people who started the Golden Plains a year ago or a long time ago. And they had the signed contract with Amtgard. And then it was kind of left as that was all that they needed to do. And so I think that if they want to be a land of Westmarch, they need to go through the procedure of they have the AI contract, but they need to submit a contract to Westmarch formally. Which
I would
was
agree.
which was
They do need to do that.
which was different from what I got from Noah when I talked with him.
Is Noah the same person who was at Dark Shore?
I do
No,
not.
that
I
was
don't
Delos.
know. Okay, so who would Noah be in Amtgard terms?
I do not remember. Is he Megiddo? He runs the orc. He is a knight of a knight of Amtgard, and I do not recall much more than that.
Okay.
I've only met him online, which, I mean, as far as interactions go, great guy, but that's kind of a different topic.
Yeah. I guess it would be kind on our part to ask if they want to sign a contract, or do we want to just wash our hands and say, no, it's a done deal already?
Well, I don't know that it's a done deal. What is done?
Well, the fact that they are not currently Westmarch.
Well, we demoted them to a shire because they're not meeting attendance requirements.
Well, I think the bigger thing is they were never legally part of Westmarch.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
so-
if they
right.
want to be part of Westmarch, really what we need to do is start working with a new land to join Westmarch. I mean, like any freehold, basically.
Yeah, I'm fine with them joining as a shire, but not as a principality.
Okay.
So my last comment with them in September. He was going to ask the founders, which were the people involved initially when the initial Golden Plains wanting to be a land of Westmarch started. He was going to talk to the founders and see if they still wanted to be a land of Westmarch. I checked back with him to see if he got a reply from the founders, and they do not have a signed contract with Westmarch. And then I said, well, since then there's not been a contract with Westmarch, we will be asking that Golden City be removed on the ORC as a principality of Westmarch. And he says, okay, you realize that you will be asking me to do that? And I said, yes. And he said he would add it to the list. So I don't know where it is on the list, but if that hasn't been done, then I can reach out to him again. And say that they were voted to be a shire. And if they want to be a land of Westmarch, they need to submit a contract. I don't know if there is a deadline at this point, because I think their AI contract was a long time ago. And according to our Corpora, I believe there is a year time period between when they sign a contract with Amtgard and when they, let's see, the sponsored must meet the following terms, sign it, and send it by registered mail to receipt by Westmarch within 1 year of the sponsored chapter's formation as an Amtgard group.
Which is kind of weird.
Otherwise, the agreement will be considered null and void. So I believe they've been a land or an Amtgard group for more than a year, which doesn't really agree with that. So I guess we need to reach out to them and really pretty much say, I don't know that they need to fill out a new contract with Amtgard, but if they're going to want to be a land of Westmarch, it would be as a shire, and that they need to submit the contract to the kingdom, and maybe give them a deadline since it's been over the 1 year, just to kind of give them some grace.
Yeah, I would say that's good.
And just as a reference, there are 2 parks that are part of the Golden City. So the 2 active parks, one is in Round Rock and the other is in College Station.
So since we demoted them to a shire because of lack of attendance and participation, how does that work with having 2 parks?
The principality had 2 shires that were members of it.
But a prin-
So
but-
I'm sorry, after you.
if we demoted them to a shire, a principality to a shire, but the shire can't have 2 parks.
Well, I think that the way it would probably work is to just both those parks would be shires and the principality itself would be the part that is dissolved, not the actual parks.
So they would each have to apply to be shires of Westmarch.
Yeah,
All right, so if I reach out to Noah, I don't know. Let me reach out to Noah since he is the contact that I've been talking to. And let him know that we demoted them to a shire. And if they want to remain, I'm just taking notes, remain a land of Westmarch, each land, each round, the one in Round Rock in College Station, each need to submit a contract? Do you want to make a deadline?
Sure, why don't we go with whatever the deadline for a freehold normally petitioning is?
Well, that's already passed because it is registered mail to the receipt by Westmarch within 1 year of the sponsored chapter's formation as an Amtgard group. They've been around for a long time.
That actually might be something to send to the Corpora committee.
Why?
Because that line doesn't make sense. I mean, we would never be able to pick up a more experienced park. It blocks us from doing so. Why wouldn't we want to pick up, you know, a park that had been around 3 years and was ready to be a barony would be a great park for the kingdom. I mean, it's kind of shooting ourselves in the foot with that line.
Oh,
But
you're
that's not
saying
BOD
that,
business, so.
you're
Right,
saying
so-
that the way it reads, if a land has been like a freehold for 3 years, they wouldn't be able to come with us because it states they have to do it within 1 year of having gotten a Amtgard Inc. contract.
Right.
Like
Ah.
Ravens.
And
Ravens
Valon was
Ridge.
6 years old before they applied.
Okay, so let's pass that along to the Queen and the Corpora committee. Okay. But as far as tonight, I guess a choice would be, do we wait and see if the Corpora committee wants to amend that before we take action on Golden Plains? Or do we
Golden
want
City.
to, Golden City, thank you. Or do we want to use the contract the way it is as far as Golden City goes and reach out to them and say and either say this is expired and you guys need to file a new contract with Amtgard, or we will give you a grace period to say November 30th or the end of the year to send a contract in and a request to join Westmarch formally. Or if you don't do that by December 31st, then your ability to join Westmarch has expired and you'll need to start all over.
I'm for the end of the year thing. If we did it to the last meeting that we have before the changeover, that would be good to at least have that part of it resolved before, you know, whoever takes over and whatever switches happen. At
And
least
that's-
give them a new
Yeah.
issue to work on.
That's gonna basically be, say, December 1st, because with the holidays and all of that and our meeting in December, that would give us time to review that and absorb it. So you're saying maybe by December 1?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
Does anyone have any further discussion on that?
How come they never joined Emerald Hills?
Politics.
politics.
Politics, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, interesting.
That was an awesome series of answers, by the way.
All right, so I will reach out to Noah Smith. And make sure that they know that Golden City was demoted to a shire in as far as Westmarch goes, because of lack of participation and attendance. And if they want to remain a land of Westmarch, each of their two lands in Round Rock and College Station will need to each submit a contract to Westmarch by December 1. Is that any comments? And they'll each need to apply as a shire. Any comments?
I mean, I move that becomes our motion.
Second?
I'll second that.
I was about to die on the table. Die on the table.
Yeah. Any further discussion?
None for me. But I would also like to make a motion to have someone contact the Corpora committee about reviewing the verbiage that Andy pointed
Okay.
out.
That's going to be a second motion. So let's close up this motion and then we can talk about that maybe in new business.
Okay, I think we've made a motion for this like 3 times now, so.
We have, and it's now been seconded, and I just wanted any further discussion. Anyone opposed? Okay, I've got homework to do for the November meeting. Cool. Let's see, and then number 8 is the Thor's Refuge banking issues. That was a liaison, monarchy, and prime minister report on updating, securing closure of the TR bank account. Have we made any progress on that?
I know that I haven't.
That would be something that the liaison, monarch, and prime minister would have done. So, any y'all do anything?
I thought at one point that Christian, as the BOD treasurer, had reached out to TR about that, and just to kind of get current, if I remember correctly, the status was that the holder of the bank account now lives out of state, and we're having difficulty contacting them to release the TR bank account or to get it closed out, and that part of the difficulty is because they can't show up in person because it's a Wells Fargo bank account because they live in Texas. Is that right?
That is what I remember, but I also remember that the reason the liaison, monarch, and prime minister were supposed to do it was because the treasurer felt like she had hit a brick wall and was kind of wanting a little help with the contacting, just having somebody else do a little bit of contacting in case that helped anything.
So what would y'all like to do with this one? It's been on our list for a while, and I think we've kind of hit a wall. Jordan, are you comfortable working with the monarch and prime minister to see if we can't contact the person that holds that bank account and make some progress?
I've reached out to the PM of TR to see what we can get done on that front.
Okay.
As far as there's no Wells Fargo in Amarillo, Texas, I'm looking at 10 branches, so I think that that's not the case.
What does that mean?
There are at least 10 places they could go and take care of this business in a branch in
Yeah.
Amarillo, Texas.
In Amarillo, Texas.
Oh, so it's doable.
Yes.
Okay, how about this? How about if I volunteer to contact the person that's holding that bank account and see if I can maybe make some progress in getting that closed out and cleaned up so that it is workable. Can you remind me, just so I'm not going back through all the past minutes, the person that just the
You're
person that holds, yeah, so Uric holds the bank accounts, they're in his name. We kind of have to do like we did with the Westmarch, and we need to get his name removed and transferred to the current TR prime minister. Is that right? Or close it out completely?
I believe the main reason it's as big an issue as it was is that it's actually a business account that is in TR's like business name or whatever, but Uric is the signer or whatever. And I guess the other person who was the second is no longer contactable or something.
Okay.
But I do remember people saying that the main reason they felt like it couldn't just be, you know, arms up in air, okay, whatever, was because it is still in TR's business name and they didn't like the idea of it floating around still open.
All right. Let me reach out to Uric and see what's going on from that aspect, and I will get an update by next meeting.
Motion to table until Jody can contact Uric.
Seconded.
Seconded.
Anyone opposed? Great, okay. My second homework assignment for November. And so that is all of old business on the agenda. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to new business then. The first item on the agenda is to approve a correction in August minutes. Rose, can you let us know what that is, please?
Yeah, I accidentally listed Ian Crawford instead of Justin Smith in one spot. So it's literally just approving going in and changing Ian's name to Justin's name. I believe it was a reference to Justin Smith knew what the banking issues were and had been like brought to speed by the previous prime minister. And then my brain for some reason was like, yeah, let's just write the wrong name in there. And so I did that.
I move to assign the secretary to go and fix the typographical error in the August minutes.
Second.
Anyone opposed? Go for it, Rose. And then-
Yay, fixing my errors.
Thank you. And then will you post the corrected document into CA Amtgard?
Do you guys want me to post new? Because what I was planning on doing was just going and replacing. Like, do you want it to be a new post or just an
Yes. Yeah,
update?
or replies, just so that there's a thread that here's
Okay,
the
so-
first one, and we looked at it and discussed it and voted on the changes. Okay, and then here's the corrected one.
Okay. I can do
Thanks.
that.
Okay, cool. And then I think the September meeting minutes are good too, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so then item number 2, in new business that I wanted to bring forward, and I think actually has been brought up earlier, is there was a Corpora meeting, Corpora committee meeting last night, and they discussed proposed kingdom contract changes. So if I can have Ilanthus tell us what those changes were. And give us a
Sure.
report on that, please. And then we can add in the discussion too that we had earlier, if that's needed. So go ahead. Thank you.
So I've got it written out here. I was making the change we talked about a moment ago on the 1-year thing.
Do you want me to share my screen? Because I have the part of the document that you posted in the Corpora committee up for everyone to look at.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me do that. Share screen, share. There you go.
Let's
Can
see if
everyone
I
see
can
that now?
Look at it all.
It says you have started sharing screen. Oh, there it goes.
Okay,
I'm trying to figure out how to see it all. Okay. This is annoying me. Sorry.
Is that working for you? Can everybody see it okay?
It is, it's just my technical difficulties.
I
That's okay.
couldn't until you moved it.
Standard. How do I make it big enough so I can actually see it? Oh, well.
Magnifying glasses.
No, it's there. There we go. Okay. Okay, so let's see. The green is new worded words. The red is proposed deletions. So I made the change that the contract's good until somebody terminates it. And I got rid of located in El Paso because they're not anymore. I also just made the change of it's 1 year from when they are accepted by the all thing instead of 1 year from their formation.
Hey, look, there's that change I was talking about.
I know, isn't that cool? Jody, can you scroll down a bit so we've got the full next page? Thank you, perfect. This is where it gets a little more meaty. All the red is the stuff we are proposing to delete. Let's see. We do not, my position was we do not particularly want any of our sublands to go after NPO status because that just becomes a mess and a liability for us. So I would actually like to prevent people from doing that, not encourage them to do it.
I mean, what mess does it create? Just out of curiosity.
Well, for example, Wave Haven had NPO status, but they didn't keep it up. And so they had years and years of having this status out there. And we didn't know if we owed $800 or if it was just quietly fading into the distance. And it probably, if we ever had tried to do anything with it, we would have owed a lot of money because we weren't doing it properly. But because the government's somewhat benevolent and lets idiots just disappear, that's what happened.
So you're
I
saying it
guess-
was a mess for Wave Haven, not Westmarch.
Well, except that as a subland of Westmarch, it would have been Westmarch's problem had it been Wave Haven's problem.
I'm not sure that that's legally accurate if it was a separate nonprofit.
So Mistyville had their own little nonprofit and their own EIN because they were kind of doing their own thing. But I guess this is kind of the one part that I have a concern about. We want the lands to operate like they are a nonprofit. I don't know that it says operate as a not-for-profit group. And just to make sure that there's not something that benefits solely one person or a group of people. To me, this reads like the lands are going to operate the same as Westmarch does as a not-for-profit group, not that they're going to all get their own nonprofit status and operate autonomously.
That's how I would actually read that too, especially because if we were reading it the other way, then a shire would be required to have a nonprofit status, which we obviously, we don't have anything preventing them from having it, but we don't have anything requiring it that we've ever enforced ever.
Mm-mm.
Well, I mean, that's a good point. Just because we haven't enforced it doesn't mean it's not what's in our contract. However, I would be happy with keeping the operate as a not-for-profit group and deleting the government recognition is recommended.
Why don't we just strike the term not required, or strike recommended, but yeah, recommended.
Strike
and but.
required.
Hear me out. If we strike out item 2 in its entirety, then the Kingdom of Westmarch is officially neutral on the stance of its sublands gaining not-for-profit status.
I'm fine with that.
Is there a thing in this contract that restricts rights, or is it just gives requirements? I don't remember it well enough to remember.
It's not very long. What's on the page is what's there.
Right.
So
I
that's
think
it.
it just gives requirements, which means if we took it out entirely, it would be as Justin said, there would just be no requirement one way or the other.
I would vote for leaving it in, just operate as a not-for-profit group, just so that the land doesn't go out and start doing fundraising and putting it into their coffers.
Well, I mean, that would
Well-
violate their Amtgard contract anyways.
What if we changed it instead of operate as a not-for-profit group, just stated in there something like cannot, operate as a business or like take profit. So I mean, I imagine the reason that's in there is to keep people from like trying to operate a park as a business of their
Yes.
own.
Yes, exactly. And I think that that's really important. I think that needs to be in the contract in some form.
Like
I don't
you
know
can't
about the
run this as a
governmental
personal business.
recognition of nonprofit status is recommended, but I think
Yeah.
item 2, operate as a not-for-profit group, period, is really important.
Uh,
But isn't that
agree.
part of the land contract with AIBOD?
Well, maybe it is, but maybe this is redundant, but I still strongly think it should stay in the Westmarch contract.
It is easier to have something in our Corpora and then we can enforce it, whereas if it's only in the Amtgard, incorporated stuff, then if we had a problem, we'd have to go through them. Whereas if we had a park that is, somebody starts it and starts charging everyone every day that they come, with it being in our contract and in our Corpora, we can shut it down. We don't have to go to Amtgard Incorporated and be like, hey guys, would
Yes,
any of you like to answer our emails? Hope none of you have big events for the next month. Just kind of to keep it in-house, we could be like, hey, stop that, or we'll kick you out of the kingdom. By our all new BOD voting powers.
no, I agree with that, and I think that's why this is important, just to leave it operate as a not-for-profit group.
Alrighty. Next one I'm proposing we delete is maintain a positive relationship with authorities, public and other Amtgard chapters, only because it's vague and pointless.
Not terribly enforceable, no.
I
Number
mean, it's a good
7.
idea. I'm not necessarily sure it's something contractually enforceable.
Right, and this being the contract, I was in favor of only things that are actually enforceable. Same thing with number 7. I think that is a good thing to have in general. I do not think it is a contractual obligation appropriate type of thing.
Agreed.
Uh,
I actually have a little bit of a disagreement there, just because not necessarily with the way it's worded now, but making sure that like educating Amtgard and members of the community is like something that we've been able to point to in the past when trying to work with like municipalities and stuff. We're like, look, this is a thing we do. Having it in our contract, if we needed to, could help with being like, yes, it's officially a thing we do. Like, it's not just our group likes educating people about stuff, but it's actually what we are contractually obligated to do.
I mean, I would agree if we were gonna try and change the king to a C3 instead of a C7, but I mean, we're a social club. I don't necessarily feel that education is a contractual obligation.
Yeah, and we had looked at that a while back as far as changing that. Just when we were looking at fundraising and maybe raising more money for like storage lockers and having a site that we own to have events, and that was changing to more of a teaching and education and classes and that. And I think that was a very difficult leap to change from a social club to that. So I think the educate the Amtgard membership is important, and I think we foster that as arts and sciences and teaching fighting and all of the things that we do to share with each other, but I'm not sure it's a contractual obligation.
Oh,
Okay, thanks. Moving on. Unless there's
Alrighty.
other comments on this one.
Let's see. So the next one is hold crown qualifications.
Wait, what
Um,
about hold regularly scheduled Amtgard
Oh,
activities at
You're
least
right,
twice a
my
month?
bad. So yeah, that
No, you're
one
good.
is combined with another item, which is to add in, have an active member participate in the Westmarch Circle of Monarchs each month. I think that will do more to foster activity and communication between the lands than the must do something twice a month, because as we have found in recent years, that's very changeable and poorly defined currently.
So what is the method of participating in the Circle of Monarchs? Because I mean, if, you know, in the past, I know we've done Facebook groups and stuff like that, where, you know, if suddenly the monarch is out for a month, or like if Amanda has some personal issues and is gone for 2 weeks and doesn't participate that month, I mean, how does the next person step in?
So I was modeling the idea after the AI Circle of Monarchs, which does not require the person to be a monarch, just to be a representative of their land. So they could have somebody else step in as needed. Likewise, it does not have to be a regularly scheduled meeting. It can be a Facebook page and everybody just says, hey, I have this question, or hey, check in, what's going on, guys? It doesn't have to be on a specific timeline, as long as they are present each month.
so my thoughts with that is like, at least the last few times I was monarch, there was a specific group that I didn't have any ability to, you know, add people to. So like if I were going to be out for a period and there was a meeting scheduled, how would I add like my regent or whoever in order to fulfill that?
Well, again, there would not need to be any scheduled meetings. However, again, the way it works on the AI Circle of Monarchs is the previous person who was being the representative says, hey, I'm leaving, add this person, and then they get added and they're on there.
Okay. Maybe in that case, take off each month and just must have an active member participate in the Westmarch Circle of Monarchs. Cause like, I feel like if it says each month, then that's like dictating, you know, continuous or having to make specific things. Whereas if it's just participate in, like, that feels to me more like what you're describing, as opposed to like, you know, attending specific meetings each month or something.
Well, the reason I wanted to put in each month is I don't want a land to appoint someone and then ignore it for the rest of the reign because they don't care.
Mhm.
I think it's important that it is an ongoing monthly requirement that they think about it at least.
Mhm.
I know that my reign was kind of the COVID emerging reign, but I tried to have a monthly meeting of all of the monarchs. It wasn't required, but it was a great way on a monthly, a regular basis to kind of check in with the lands and see how they're doing, see who needed support. And I think that the active member, you know, if the monarch can't make it, then the regent steps in or somebody else from the land joins in, but at least there's some communication between the kingdom and individual lands to kind of check in and have some sort of unity, to have unity.
I think that's really important. And it's been something that I have struggled with this reign because I have not had everyone responsive. So,
Mhm.
I guess the only comment that I would have is, because I like this one, but I'm just thinking as a contract requirement, if a land does not have a representative every month, then that's a violation of their contract and we would be looking at terminating their contract.
well,
But
we don't
worst-
have to
worst
terminate
case-
a contract.
worst
We-
case
it's just the-
scenario. Yeah.
Well, yeah, worst case scenario, we could if we wanted to. I mean, that's now the case with any of these things. But I don't know that we necessarily would just because we can.
So what would you consider to be unanimous agreement by the Kingdom BOD? Is that everybody in the meeting saying yes, or is that every single member of the BOD saying yes?
That is every single member voting once we have reached quorum.
Because I mean, quorum
So
is 4
that-
people. It's easy enough
Yeah.
to get 4 people. I mean, not necessarily with this current BOD, but we could get a BOD that 4 people all meeting together could quickly just say, I don't like this part, goodbye. That's a lot of power to give to 4
Isn't
people.
that, but this is just a addition to what we voted on last month. This is adding to the contract what we have already added to the Corpora.
Yeah, as far as that goes, I think that's actually an excellent point that should maybe be brought up with the Corpora committee. What is defined as unanimous for the BOD? Which,
Wait, have we moved on to
Honest-
14? We were done with 13. We've moved on to 14.
Well, we have to go back and do 10 because 9 and 13 were together.
I was kind of considering 14 a part of 13 because that not meeting every month would trigger
Okay.
a termination is what I was looking at there.
Well, but again, that's the done deal. That's not us making any changes. That is just me adding in what's already been voted on in.
well, no, he's saying that he's looking at 13 in reference to 14 and how 14 will affect 13. So
Sure.
considering them together in that 14 will have a direct effect on 13, not saying like 14 needs to change or something.
Okay. I mean, yes, that's true, but it's also true of every other thing else that's currently in the contract. So if a land doesn't hold
it's just
walls, are we
wondering-
gonna terminate them?
I mean, that is a thing we could do if people wanted
It is
to.
a thing we could do, but I don't think it's a thing we would do.
Well, you
I think
you
it
can't think
could-
of it as us. You have to
Yeah.
think of it as any future BOD.
Sure.
Also,
Well,
it
and my
could
point is
very
that's why I
well
want to
depend
remove
on the
walls.
land. I think there are some lands out there that it's quite possible the right group of people would absolutely always vote to terminate no matter what. But like you said, that's a different issue. That one was passed by all things, so that is a thing, but
Okay. So going back to number 10, removing the requirement for quals to be part of the contract.
I can't see 10.
It's blocked with red.
It's under
Combined
9.
with number 9.
It's between 9 and 11.
But right now it's Discord. But right now it's Discord.
I think only for you.
Only for me? Really?
Yeah, go back to Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
No, I'm in Zoom.
I'm
and
still
it's-
screen sharing.
Yeah. The screen sharing is showing as the Discord for me. There it goes. Now it switched.
Okay, good. Can you see it now? Okay, Rose?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I can see it now. Okay, so number 10.
so number 10 is eliminating quals from the contract.
I support.
Alrighty. Well, that's the changes then.
So
The
did-
other one
So
that
did
is,
excuse me a second, was the BOD's opinion on 13 must have an active member participate in the Westmarch COM period? Or each month we,
Have someone vaguely participating each month is what I got.
okay,
So not specifically like attending a meeting or something, but just having a presence.
each month though, we agreed that was okay. I just, we kind of jumped around. I wasn't sure that I got closure in my head on that one, that part.
I think that's an important part of it myself.
I personally don't like it, but I understand the reasoning of why the people who do like it. So I don't think there's more discussion to be had on it.
So I guess, were we, Ilanthus, have you, gone through everything here that you wanted to change in the contract?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I guess one of my comments is, just personally, I agree with some things. I'm not sure about some things. I'm not sure I like some things. And so voting on this as a block, it doesn't allow me the freedom to say, hey, I like this part, I'm gonna vote yes. I don't like this part, I'm gonna vote no. Not sure
Oh.
about this part, and so,
It is not being voted on as a block.
so,
Okay,
Each of those, so there's a table above the written in stuff.
okay,
Each of those boxes is a separate vote. We have 41 separate votes happening so far.
hold on.
okay. Is this something that's going to all thing, or is this something we're voting on as the BOD?
This is the all thing proposal.
It's
Okay.
all.
BOD doesn't really have any authority to say,
Mm-mm.
but I thought it might be handy to sort of go through it with you guys and get feedback.
Yeah, so
Okay.
here's
I
the
just
part,
wasn't
the top
sure,
part
'cause-
that you're talking about, right?
I'm sorry, I'm in a different page.
Well, I'm screen sharing. This is
Yeah.
the table and then the circle of knights and the crown quals and this
Right.
is the top part and the other changes for the Corpora committee, which I have focused on the contract because we're the BOD.
Right.
Okay,
The other one that is relevant to the BOD, but again, it's only a matter of giving you guys a heads up, not necessarily requesting your participation. is I made major changes to the audit section.
Yay.
Let's go. Would you
I
like to
don't know
look at
what they
that?
are, but I already support them.
Sure.
Okay, let's look
I'm
at that.
looking for it in here.
Give me a minute. Quals, crown quals.
Article 9. So it's going to be, I tried to keep them in order where they were in the Corpora.
7, titles of nobility. There we go.
Uh-oh, I'm still on time of the crown.
Well, if you look, I'm screen sharing, so you should be able to see what I'm showing you.
Article 9, Section 2, audits. Complete
Audits.
rewrite. Functional change.
It's very succinct, isn't it?
Is there a way to like refresh this? Okay, there. Mine seems to be lagging. That
I also
think that
shared
might be
this
what it is.
document into the Corpora conversation if you want to access it that way.
Yeah. Well,
The
it's
BO
mostly trying to look at where you guys are looking at the same time. That was confusing
Sure.
me.
Yeah,
But I think it's that I'm lagging. That might be what it is.
the BOD and the corpora are not shared, so whatever you want to present to the BOD, Christine,
Uh-huh.
I can share my screen and do that
Okay.
as you
Sure.
need. Okay?
I thought Rose was also in the Corpora chat, so that's where I was.
She is, but the rest of us aren't, and so if
Fair
you're
enough.
gonna change the audit section, I think that's an excellent thing to review.
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah, sure. I was just giving her an alternate way to find the same information so that she
Okay,
could
cool.
follow along.
okay, cool.
Alrighty, so as you can see here, it's significantly shorter. Audits are to assess land health and aid the monarchy in the smooth running of the kingdom and its sublands. 2, the monarch may initiate an audit of any sponsored chapter at any time to ensure the smooth operation of the sponsored chapter. Monarch may request other monarchy members or the BOD to assist with the audit. That would be things like, if I want to know about money, I might go ahead and ask the PM. If I want to know about contractual obligations, I'd go ahead and ask the BOD.
Sounds good.
Promotion and demotion themselves are not automatic, but require approval of the Kingdom Althing and the Kingdom Monarch. That is not a change. A sponsored chapter may be considered for promotion if they submit an application to the Kingdom Monarchy. This is a pretty significant change.
Yep.
Application must include proof that the land has met all current status requirements and proof that they have meet all of the proposed status requirements for promotion. Let's see, a sponsored chapter may be considered for demotion if they fall below 75%. That part is not a change. Are found to be in breach of their contract. Are found to be maintaining the requirements for the current land status. Sorry, not be maintaining.
Mhm.
Do you need to add a line to that to exclude the 75% numbers?
No, because I think it's in there as number 1 in that subsection right there.
Well, right, except that legalese reading this, I can be up to 75% less than my needed numbers, but also I have to meet the requirements, which is 100% of the needed numbers. So those two, I and triple I kind of conflict.
Okay. In that case, what I would do is,
Like, just put an exception in triple I that like,
Or add other. They are not,
contract found to be made, yeah.
yeah,
How's that?
excellent.
Alrighty.
You gotta get that legalese working.
Fair enough. All right.
An exception is made to allow a land to fall to 75% rather than below. Otherwise,
Oh,
we're giving
yes.
permission to going to 0.
To fall
Oops.
to, yes, yes, yes.
What, you
Then
don't
there
want to
was
make
they needed
it
to defend
that
their current
we
size. Okay,
specifically exempt defunct lands?
wait, what?
No, yeah.
Okay.
It was a joke. I was like,
Oh,
what?
okay.
You
Sorry.
don't want to make an exception that specifically exempts defunct lands and makes them all good forever?
Can I go back to the promotion part?
Mhm.
Okay,
So a sponsored chapter may be considered for a promotion. And then, because when lands are put up for promotion, there's an all thing. Is
Yeah.
that a separate section or do we need?
let's see. I think it is somewhere.
It's up in the all things section because I was typing on that earlier today.
Okay, all right, good. I just want to make sure that that doesn't get removed.
In number 3, it says promotion and demotion themselves are not automatic, but require approval of the kingdom all thing and the kingdom monarch.
Beautiful, okay.
Okay,
I'm good.
so number 4 is mostly the same. I think I removed the results of the most recent crown calls from the list of options.
But didn't we just take the requirement for recruitment and advertising out somewhere else in the contract?
Yeah, probably, but this is not saying that these need to be requested, just that they may be requested.
Okay,
And this is, again, for the monarch's ability to help a land grow or with any problems they may be having, in which case, yeah, it's not a contractual obligation, but it does speak to the health of the land.
super.
Mhm.
So there's no actual required audit ever unless the monarch says so in
Yes,
this amendment. Okay.
yes.
And the BOD
much
has no
better.
function in it.
And it very much says that my reading of this is that if you want to get a promotion, or if the monarch suspects that your duchy has 5 members, then that's when your audits are going to be coming down. So either
Yep.
you're going to ask for an audit as part of a promotion package, or you need to be looking at your memberships.
Yeah,
Right, so there will be no biannual BOD audit meetings.
yep.
Yes, and you have no idea how big a grin I've got right now.
Oh, my grin's pretty big too.
So I would, if you're taking suggestions,
Yeah, okay.
I would add something into 3, like before the line that's actually 3, that talks about why the promotion, demotion relate to this. Like, give this as, say something along the lines of a bid for promotion will require an audit or something like that.
But it doesn't. That's the thing.
Like,
All
you
it
can just put a
requires
person up for promotion
is-
without an audit at all.
They could.
All right.
I mean, they have to submit an application, and that application has to have proof of what they've done.
Hmm.
But it's not an audit.
Okay.
It's an application.
Would we need to put something in land levels
For what?
as far as kind of reflecting if changes between land levels? Sorry, I can't pull up the Corpora or I'm gonna remove this
I've got it
screen.
here. I don't think there's anything in the land levels that says they have to. So yeah, land levels come in the section 3 is a shire, section 4 is a barony, and they don't say anything about audits.
Well,
Mhm.
kind of what I'm saying is if you are a shire and you want to become a barony, the requirements and characteristics of a barony are listed. I guess maybe like refer to section 2, article 9 for changes between land levels. I don't know. Never mind. I have to think about that more.
I do need to take off, so if you guys will have to forgive me for
No,
bailing so early.
Jordan, it was great to have you. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Okay, so there it is.
Thank you for presenting these,
Mhm.
especially the contract. I really wanted the BOD to be aware, but with audits and all of those things, I really like the transparency and kind of talking through it with the BOD, because not having audit meetings is kind of a huge change for the BOD. And it's like, wait, all of a sudden there's no audit meetings. What happened?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Good
the
thanks.
other thing that sort of just as a heads up is if this passes, the BOD will then need to be getting new contracts for all of the lands.
Yep. Be a lot of work, but
Well, it will, but it'll
We
also
might
get
have
rid of
audits
all
to
those
do.
darn defunct lands that have been a thorn in our side for a long time. And we can get
Yeah.
current and clean everything up. Okay, I'm
That's
gonna,
the goal.
does anybody have anything else that they need to see as far as what we've been talking about? Or can I stop the screen sharing?
I'm good.
Anybody else need to see anything else? Okay, cool. Boop, there we go. Okay. Okay, so, did we have anything else on this topic, or do I need to hear a motion do we need to table it? Do we want to close it out?
I mean,
I
as
believe-
far as I can tell, this was mostly us giving feedback to the Monarch and not really anything our actual responsibility. So I'm good with closing it out. Motion to close.
Yeah, there is no motionable action here. It was purely informative.
Okay, cool. All right. And then the other thing I have in new business is just before the meeting, I saw a comment by Amanda that she's missed 2 meetings in a row, and according to the Corpora, that is something that might instigate a discussion about removal from the BOD.
Corpora says 3 in a row.
3 in a row, so she's missed 2. So, I mean, my opinion is she had to not be here tonight because of a personal family emergency, and it kind of doesn't count. But I wanted to just bring it up because she brought it up.
I would also point out that say we did vote to remove her. Okay, so now we'd have to run an election possibly as early as next meeting, but probably not, because we'd have to like have people have notice to run for it. So we wouldn't really be being able to bring anyone in anyway. It just kind of seem silly.
I think we're good as we stand. I think we always have a quorum. She's here when she can be here, and it is getting close to the end of the year, so. But I just saw that post and wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up for what exactly it says. Is it 3 meetings in a row?
It is Article 10, Section 1, Item 9. Any member of the board who misses 3 meetings in a row shall be removed.
Okay, so what that means to me is, she's only missed 2, so it's not really relevant tonight. But in general, if a person misses 3 in a row, we must vote on it, even if that vote is to say, special situation, we're good, let's all go
Yep.
home.
Yep, so
Um,
we can revisit in November.
If we need to.
is what it does make me wonder is, it seems like Christian hasn't been to a bunch of meetings.
Call.
Rose, can you look and see what Christian's attendance has been?
Actually, for this
Uh,
question, while she's looking at that,
She attended the special meeting, didn't she?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
am
there
I
you go.
remembering wrong?
I think I
Let
still have
me-
that open. Hang on. The special meeting was Andy, Jody, Rose, missing Amanda, Kaya, and Jordan.
Okay. Let me check the meeting minutes then.
The other
Just
September meeting was missing Kaya.
I just have to go over to the place in the notes.
But
Okay,
while
so
she's looking that up, a question: does September count as 2 different meetings for the purpose of missing 3 meetings in a row?
Yes.
well,
'Cause, I
like
mean,
one of them was a special meeting with very little notice.
I would say we could look at that as a special situation.
Mhm. Okay.
So if she was not at either of the meetings in September, this would be the third, which means that we should have a mandatory motion to consider.
She was
correct,
at
everyone?
the August 8th meeting. Let's see, August 7th. She was
And I only
present. at
remember
both of
because
the
we've been
August
talking about
meetings.
the Thor's Refuge money since as long as I can remember. And she
Mhm.
always isn't there to talk about it.
Right, and as the BOD treasurer, that was one of her tasks, for want of a better word.
So if we count both of the September meetings as regular meetings, then this would be her third miss, but she did attend in August. So if we don't, then this would be her second.
One of the meetings she attended, she was late, but she did log in.
Yeah, that was the second August one.
The second August one.
Yeah, we had a meeting on August 7th and August 8th. She was
oh,
there.
right.
Oh, right,
And she
right.
was late for
Okay.
the other one.
Okay,
And then we had 2 meetings in September, but she wasn't there for either of those. And then today.
that's kind of a tough one because the second meeting in September was all about the Wells Fargo bank account transfer.
Well, the second meeting in August was everything.
Or
but-
September.
oh,
I'm sorry,
sorry,
September.
My bad. Never mind.
I think it's pretty clear that she's missed 3. And if we want to, as individuals, vote those as special situations and let her stay on, that's fine. But I think we have to have a vote.
So,
Agreed.
Ilanthus, you're moving that we have the mandatory vote, correct?
Yes.
I second that motion.
Okay, 1 sec while I write that down.
So the motion is that we have a vote. So we are going to vote on having a vote.
Well,
No.
No.
we-
The
no,
vote is
we're
automatic.
Have a vote,
voting
and then
not
if
to
it's
remove
not
her.
conclusive, we would have a discussion and a revote.
So wait,
Yeah.
so the motion, can you repeat the motion that you made?
Motion to vote on
Christine?
removal of CA due to lack of attendance.
Oh, okay, okay, I'm sorry, I thought it was a motion to have a vote.
Well, it is a motion to have a vote, but to have a vote on
To have a
removing.
vote on removing
Kaya.
Kaya due to lack of
Due to
of attendance.
Mhm.
Okay,
And the motion was seconded.
no, okay, I just wanted to be clear what I'm voting on.
No worries. I vote no.
Yeah, I vote no.
I vote
As
no
in no
removal.
to not
Wait,
remove her, correct?
wait, so Andy,
I vote no removal.
Christine,
I vote no removal.
I vote no removal, Justin
I vote no removal.
and Rose.
Justin left. Oh, wait, no, Jordan left, sorry. I vote no.
All right,
So it's, yes, the noes are unanimous.
so we will keep Kaya on the BOD. Hopefully she can make it next time. And we may want to consider scheduling our next meeting, which is going to be the next topic of discussion, To maybe,
Actually, to go back, we skipped items 2 and 3 and went directly to item 4.
we skipped the Corpora proposed contract changes.
We skipped vote to remove defunct lands.
Oh,
Which is item 2 under new business. Whereas the contracts were item 4.
I missed that on new business on, hold on the copy that I have. Is that in Discord?
Yeah, should be in the most current one that I posted today.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
It's okay. Which I think I might have mostly been misunderstanding what you were asking to have added, but on the other hand, we now do have the ability to vote to remove defunct lands. So,
If that
Oh.
passes,
huh?
if the Corpora change passes,
It did.
It did.
it did, okay.
Yeah.
I totally missed that. My apologies.
No worries. So I don't personally feel like this requires much discussion. I mean, defunct lands have nobody at them. They're dead lands, so I would like to put a motion to remove the defunct lands.
I think what I would like is that we have a list of the lands that we are going to vote on removing. And a reason why.
Well, I mean, the defunct lands are the ones that have absolutely 0 people at them. And
Right, but for the purposes of objective data on removing them, I'd like to have a document or a table on they haven't submitted audits for 10 times, they have no attendance, I think that I'd like to have something that we can look at and say, these are the defunct lands, these are why, and vote on them either as a group or we go through them individually. At the next meeting, if you can come up with a list of what those lands are. Skyfire Bay.
I guess I can go on the org and find which lands have 0 attendance forever.
Well, and I can help you with that. There's gonna be a really easy place to find them in the audit history.
Well, that would be for lands that haven't submitted audits, whereas defunct lands are specifically the lands that do not have any attendance or anyone going to them. They're dead lands.
I think that it's the same, well, not the same, but
It's absolutely not the same because there are lands that submit audits but still have people coming out to them and they're not defunct. It is a complete different verbiage. They may be in violation of their contract or not, I don't know, but that would be item 3, discussion on removing lands in contract violations outside of defunct lands. The defunct lands are specifically the ones that do not have attendance. You know, nobody goes to them. We continuously get told when we ask them stuff that they do not exist, but we have previously stated that we can't remove them because there was no way to remove anyone, even if
So
they
what
were defunct.
so what I would like to,
Been done before.
so what I would like to have is I'd like to have a list of those lands
Mhm.
and documentation of, I guess like a definition of defunct for them. And then for item 3, lands that are in contract violation,
Mhm.
because we're also looking at removing those.
Mhm.
So I mean, for tonight, a vote to remove defunct lands. Oh, okay. But what are those lands and who are we removing? And I'd like to have a vote on specific lands that we are removing those specific lands for these reasons. So if you want to make a list of those,
Okay. Just as a note, the definition of defunct is no longer existing or functioning.
okay,
So,
I mean, that's totally fine, but I'd like to have a list that we have that we can look at before the meeting.
okay.
Because I think tonight it's like, yeah, we're gonna remove the defunct lands. Well, I have no idea which lands those are. Let's make a more concrete document and something that we can review ahead of time. And agree on and discuss.
Sean, don't do that right by my computer, bud. Sean, stop.
So Rose, are you willing to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it won't take that long to go through the orc and figure out which lands haven't had any attendance for like the last 6 months.
Okay.
It literally is just looking at the land, bringing up the orc report and looking at their attendance.
Totally could. So, do I have a motion that Rose will, do I have a motion?
I'd like to point out first off, though, that we are required to retain records for 3 years of any land that ceases operating.
Mhm.
So it's important, I think, to note what date they stopped operating. Because
Okay,
we
so
can't
you-
get rid of them for 3 years after that.
So you would like to know when their last credits were?
Or if there's a specific date that they said, yeah, we're gone, or whatever. Yeah, basically.
Okay.
I guess I would like to make a motion that we request a list be compiled of lands that we suspect are defunct and the date that they went defunct.
Okay. I second.
Anyone opposed? Any further discussion? All right, so we will move that to old business for November. Thank you, Rose, for taking that on.
No worries.
And
And
then
then-
the other one is discussion on removing lands in contract violation. I think if we're looking, well, I was gonna say, I think if we're looking at a contract violation outside of defunct lands, then we have a lot of Corpora contract changes coming up for Althing. However, I might say that the lands that have previously signed a contract with the way the contract is now, that current contract before any future changes should be what we use to determine if the lands are in violation of their contract.
Are there any specific lands that we are wanting to review for that, or just all the lands? Mm-hmm.
My suggestion would be not to go looking for trouble. Just because you guys have the power to do it doesn't necessarily mean it's worth your time.
Mm-hmm.
If something isn't brought to you.
Well, that's what I was saying. Has anyone had like someone bring a contract violation up to us? Because this one I added because I thought that that was what was asked to be added. But I'm not really 100% sure on why it was being added. So I don't know if there was something that triggered it, if there's like a specific land that we would want to review.
I don't think we have any lands that have been needing to be reviewed for that purpose.
No, I mean, the only thing for me would be items 10 and 11 to hold Crown Falls, maintain records, membership roster, accurate financial records in a ledger format. It may even just kind of roll into the second one. Item 2. I think, like I said, I think the contract violation was more of a looking at lands that are continuously not holding crown quals and not basically not doing 10 and 11 in the
Mhm.
contract that they signed. And part of that was not turning in audits, not being active.
Well, pretty much all the lands that didn't submit audits are shires, so they aren't actually required to hold crown quals for audit purposes. I would say it's kind of a, it would be less of a intentional contract violation if the contract actually does require them to have it, as much as misleading information from not being required to send in that information if you're a shire. Like, the fact that audit doesn't require it would give someone a, reasonable presumption that they weren't required to have it if they're a shire.
I honestly think if we just look at number 2 and we either table or remove this one would be fine.
Oh,
Do I have a motion
So-
to either table this or just close this one for future discussion?
I think if we ever have a future discussion, we can just open it as a new item. So I'll do a motion to just close.
Second,
Second.
anyone opposed? Okay, so let's close this one out. Is there any other new business?
I think that covers it all.
Okay, great. Thank you for pointing that out. I had that opened and copied and then I just wasn't looking at the right one. So thanks, Rose.
No worries.
So it says, if there's no more new business, it says schedule October meeting, but that's going to be in November.
Sorry, guys.
No
My bad.
problem. So we've got coronation, we've got falls, we've got a whole bunch of stuff. I'd like to think about scheduling the next meeting, and I know Kaya's not here, but I'd like to think about scheduling the next meeting on a different day and a different time, maybe that she might be more available to be here. Does anyone have any ideas about a time for the next BOD meeting? I think if I'm looking at reaching out to Noah, that's going to influence the December BOD meeting, but not necessarily the November BOD meeting. So throw out some dates.
I mean, we're good for pretty much any day except for Thursdays and Fridays. Thursdays and Fridays are really hard because I work far away from home. Every other Sunday is also bad for us, actually, because we have to transfer custody of a child. But if we did it in the morning to mid-afternoon, we could still do it.
What would you think about Saturday the 19th, maybe towards, I work, but maybe Saturday the 19th in the evening, early evening? Sunday the 20th is Westmarch coronation. Sunday the 13th is Agers Hall and Drain. And Thursday, I think any weekdays, that's not going to really afford Christian time to be here unless it's after 8, which is too late for me.
You said Sunday the 18th?
No, I'm thinking Saturday the 19th of November.
Okay. I was confused because I was like, I don't think Sunday is an 18th.
Nope, sorry. I'm looking at Saturday the 19th of November.
Okay. About what time?
6 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
It is getting darker earlier, so we'll probably end park before that. What do you think, Andy?
I mean, we almost always have stuff going on Saturday, but it's fine. We can
What
find
about
a quiet spot.
6 o'clock on the 19th? Because if it goes too late, we've got Westmarch coronation at on the 20th somewhere. So could we do 6 o'clock on Saturday the 19th?
Yeah.
I mean, we can try.
I hear crickets again.
Yeah. It's probably fine. Saturdays are hard for us because that's our park day, but we can find a quiet spot at park.
Well, not at 7 o'clock, but
No, please.
Well,
mean,
we can
6
find a
o'clock,
quiet.
7 o'clock on Saturday the 19th,
Yeah, she said 6 o'clock, not 7.
or
oh, sorry.
No.
November 12th.
Okay, I know.
Let's see, November 12th is a
It's a
Saturday.
Saturday.
I mean, 12th and 19th are about as good for us as anything else.
Justin, Christine, do you have an opinion?
I do not. You name the time and I'll make arrangements to be here.
Actually, could we do it a little earlier on Saturdays? Because I know Jordan usually has to go from park at about 6. So if we have it at around 6, he's probably going to be driving home about then.
I know Alana's doing a crafting thing at her house on the 12th. How about the 19th at 5?
That is conceivably coronation. We haven't picked Saturday or Sunday yet.
It's gonna have to be Sunday because I work on the 19th. I'm out. I'm out on Saturday that weekend.
Ah,
What's wrong, Shani? You hit your lip?
Okay, give me
Hopefully.
some ideas. Help me out.
I mean, I'm fine with 19th at 5. But
I will probably be outside and forget all about it if it's before dark, but I'll make that every effort otherwise.
Can we do the 19th at 6
Sounds
Okay.
good.
or 7? Maybe later would work.
Get too late and then I'm up past my bedtime. So I like 6 personally.
yeah, 6 is fine.
Okay, so November 19th at 6 p.m. for the next BOD meeting.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you. I will put it on the calendar. Thanks for being flexible. Sorry, I'm not real flexible. I apologize.
It's okay. Add it to my notes.
That's why you get to be the boss lady. Then you don't have to be flexible. It works out well.
I still try to be flexible. I get more rigid the older I get. I probably should be doing more yoga, but I don't. Okay, so does anyone else have anything else for tonight? It's been a good meeting. It's 9 o'clock.
I don't got anything.
Okay, cool. So let's close out the October meeting at 9 o'clock on the dot. And
Nice.
I will post the recording to the Westmarch YouTube page and Facebook and CA Amtgard link when it's final. Okay, guys.
Okay.
Nice.
Sounds
Good evening.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Good night.